First of all, we want to say thanks to you for granting us with the privilege of interviewing you. It's really important for a small and humble group of political science students to be able to interview you. I'm João. I'm the student who talked to you through email, and this is my colleague Miguel. And
Miguel and Joe.
Yes.
Miguel and Joe.
Exactly.
Miguel and Joe. Good. Okay.
And we are both going to interview you. And my colleague is going to explain you the talking points that's going to be this interview.
Okay.
So, Professor Bloch, thank you very much for granting us this interview. We made a list of points that we would like you to elaborate on. So, first of all would be, of course, libertarianism. What are, in your view, the core principles of libertarianism? You can speak whatever you like about it. The second point being Austrian School of Economics.
Let's do one at a time. Okay. So let's start with libertarianism, then we'll go to Austrian economics, and then if you have others, we go to them.
Okay.
So what is libertarianism? What are the core principles of libertarianism? There are really three core principles. One core principle is the non-aggression principle. Namely, nobody should be able to punch anyone else in the nose, or shoot with a gun, unless they agree. In a boxing match, karate match, people agree to punch each other, and that's okay. And in sadomasochism, the sadist beats the masochist, but as long as they're adults, and they agree, that's okay. But murder and rape and arson and kidnapping are all wrong, all should be against the law, because they violate the non-aggression principle, the NECP non-aggression principle, and I think that's the main core of libertarianism. The second core of libertarianism is property rights. Property rights. I noticed Miguel has got a nice dark shirt. And it's a Rothbard shirt. Okay, I didn't see that. It's a nice dark shirt. I have. Now suppose I reach over to Portugal. You're in Portugal now. And I grab the shirt that Miguel is wearing. Did I violate his rights? Did I violate the non-aggression principle? Well, that all depends upon property rights. If he stole that shirt from me yesterday, I'm just repossessing it. On the other hand, he didn't steal that shirt from me yesterday. I never met him. He didn't steal anything from me. That's his shirt. So if I grab it, I'm the violator of rights. But you have to be clear on property rights, because the non-aggression principle without property rights is sort of not complete. You need private property rights to know whether I'm a criminal or not by grabbing the shirt that you're wearing. Notice I don't say your shirt. I just say the shirt you're wearing. And then libertarians have a theory as to how you get property rights. And it comes from John Locke and Rothbard, and Hans Hoppe, who've done a lot of work on this. And what they say is it depends upon homesteading. You mix your labor. You own yourself. Because it's improper for me to molest you because of the non-aggression principle. Now you mix some of your self with land. Miguel does that. And Zhao mixes his land with a cow. He gets a wild cow and he domesticates the cow. And Miguel puts some corn in his land. And now Miguel owns the corn, and Zhao owns the cow. Another source of private property rights would trade. So now Miguel trades for the milk for the corn, and Miguel now owns the milk. Zhao now owns the corn, even though he didn't produce the corn. Miguel did, but they produced it, they own it, and now they trade. And other title transfers would be gambling, lending, borrowing, or buying or selling, anything like that. The third core principle of libertarianism is a thing called free association. Free association means you only associate with people that you want to associate with. No one should be compelled to associate with anyone against his will. Now I notice Miguel and Zhao, you're both associating with each other. Neither one of you forced the other to associate with you. You both agreed to associate, and now I'm associating with the two of you, and I agree. You didn't compel me to. You didn't have a gun and say associate with us or we'll shoot you. So free association is also very important. And the idea here is the only problem with slavery was that the slave didn't want to associate with the master. The master wanted to associate with the slave. Wanted to be free of the master. And yet he compelled him to. The only problem with rape is that the victim doesn't want to associate with the rapist. And also. Suppose I set up a store and I sell shirts and I sell shirts to old men who are bald. You guys are not old men and you're not bald, so I refuse to sell you a shirt. I discriminate against you. Do I have a right to? It's my store. It's my store. I don't want to sell it to you. I don't want to deal with you. I only want to deal with old guys that are bald and have glasses and a beard. I have a very narrow clientele. That's my property. I'm not open to the public. I'm just open to a small part of the public, and I have that right. No one should force me to sell to gays or women or men or anybody. So these are the three core principles of libertarianism, and I think if we adhere closely to these three core principles, we will be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Deduce the libertarian answer to pretty much any question.
Okay. Thank you very much for being so crystal clear about the first point. So now it would be something on Austrian school, and this because we would like you to elaborate on the relation between the both. Why is it very frequent that a libertarian is also an Austrian, or an Austrian is also a libertarian? Why are those being different so correlated?
Well, first, before answering that question, that'll be the third question. The second question: what is Austrian economics? And Austrian economics is a theory about economics. It's a school of thought, like Marxian economics or Chicago economics. It's got nothing to do with the economics of the country Austria. It just so happens. It's named after the people who started it. Menger, Baumgartner, Mises, Hayek. They were all in Austria. They were all in Austria. Associated with the beginning of the Austrian school, and that's why it's called the Austrian school. It's similar to the Chicago. It's similar to the Chicago University of Chicago, University of Chicago, Stigler, Gary Becker. They were all at the University of Chicago. They were all at the University of Chicago. The Chicago School of Economics got nothing to do with the economics of the city of Chicago. It's just named after the people where they were. Okay, so. The Austrian school has got many dimensions. One is a school of business cycles. Here it's contrasted with the Keynesian. The Keynesians have a theory, and the Keynesian theory is that we don't have enough aggregate demand. We'll have unemployment. The Austrian school is on the business cycle. We wouldn't have any business cycles except for messing around with the interest rates and artificially lowers interest rates, entrepreneurs into producing investments which are not viable, which are not viable, and then they have to crash, and then that's part of the bust business cycle. And the solution is just get the government out of it, and we won't have any business cycles. But that's just one thing. There are many other things. For example, here I have two cough drops, and I'll show you these two cough drops. And I just got them out of the bag, and they're identical. I mean, I couldn't tell which is which. I'm going to have one. And the Austrians would say, I can't be indifferent between them because I'm going to pick one. Let's say I pick this one in my right hand. Let's say I pick this one in my right hand. Well, that proves that I'm not indifferent between them. Well, that proves that I'm not indifferent between them. Even though physically they, well, maybe a chemist could tell the difference. Well, but I can't tell the difference between them. But I'm going to pick one or the other. But I'm going to pick one or the other. Whereas the mainstream economists have a thing called indifference curves. Have a thing called indifference curves, and they think that there can be such a thing as indifference. They think that there can be such a thing as indifference. Indifference things, maybe indifference is in ordinary language. Maybe I could say in ordinary language these two cough drops. Technically speaking, technically speaking, be because the only way I can reveal anything is by human action. By doing something is by human action. When I do something, I'm going to pick one, not the other. When I do something, I'm going to pick one, not the other. There are many other things. There are many other things. Austrians are a little bit different from the mainstream. Austrians are a little bit different. However, there's one crucially important area. One crucially important area. Not even every Austrian adheres to. Not even every Austrian adheres to. And this is the main reason that the mainstream of which the Chicago school mainstream of which the Chicago school is looks down upon Austrianism, looks down upon religion or whatever, is a cult or a religion or whatever. And this is that we believe. And this is that there are hypotheses, but there are also laws. There are hypotheses, but there are also laws. What's a hypothesis? A hypothesis is what's a hypothesis? A hypothesis I don't know. If we have a minimum wage law of $10 an hour, if we have a minimum wage law of $10 it'll unemploy all unskilled workers who have a marginal revenue all unskilled workers who have a marginal revenue product under $10. And that's a hypothesis. Libertarians think that that's an economic law. Libertarians think that that's an economic law, but a law. Not just a hypothesis, but a necessary law. Let me give you another example of the necessary law. Let me give you another example. Miguel, you bought that Rothbard shirt for $20. Miguel, you bought that Rothbard shirt for $20. Okay, and I know, I deduce as an economist that at the time you purchased it, you valued it at more than $20. Otherwise, you wouldn't have bought it. You valued it at more than $20, and the guy who sold it to you valued it less than $20. And the guy who sold it to you valued it less than $20. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sold it to you. And therefore, valued the money and the shirt. Each valued the money the opposite way, and the shirt differently. Welfare the opposite way, and you both gained welfare anticipation sense. Ex ante meaning in the anticipation sense. Probably you still enjoy that shirt afterward. Probably you still enjoy that. Can you test this? Is this falsifiable? Can you test this? The Austrians say no. Falsifiable. Whereas the mainstream, the Austrians say no. You have to test everything. Whereas the mainstream will say, oh, you have to test everything. We're the same thing with the minimum wage law. And I'm not against using econometric statistical analysis on the minimum wage law. Econometric statistical analysis on the minimum wage law. The minimum wage law rose in Pennsylvania, not in New Jersey. Now let's look at the difference. But if you think that as an illustration. But if you think that empirical examination can test the theory, nonsense. Examination, in other words, test the theory. Economics is partially a branch of Austrian economics. It's not an empirical partially a branch of logic. It's logical positiveness. Whereas most economists are logical positivists. They believe that most economists are logical positivists. They believe that an empirical science. Now we Austrians believe that some empirical science. Now we Austrians believe that some parts, for example, if we double the price of that shirt that Miguel is wearing, if we double the price of that shirt that Miguel is wearing, will buy the shirt. How many fewer people will buy the shirt? The only way we can test this is to the only way we can raise the prices is to notice that in raise the Portugal the price is this, and in notice that in Spain Portugal the price is this, and assume that the Portuguese and the Spanish people are the same in every other way. Portuguese and the Spanish people are the same in every other way. In Portugal, regard to the prices 10 times higher than in Spain. Portugal, the price is 10 times higher than in Spain. Shirts will be sold in Portugal. How many fewer we don't know shirts will be sold in Portugal. So how many fewer we don't Austrians know we have 1 foot in empirical. Austrians have 1 foot in empirical logic and 1 foot in Milton Friedman once said logic. Milton Friedman, of course, is a mainstream economist, not an Austrian economist. Milton Friedman, of course, is a mainstream economist, not an Austrian disagree, they can only fight. He once said if two Austrian economists disagree, they can only fight. They can only fight. It's silly. As if two logicians in contrast, we can empirically test them. He says, and in contrast, we can to me the core, the absolute necessary core of Austrian economics. To me, the core, the absolute necessary core of Austrian economics. Third question. Now for the third question. What's the difference between Austrianism and libertarianism? And the fourth question. What's the difference between Austrianism and libertarianism? And the fourth question. Why are so many Austrians libertarians and so many libertarians? Why are so many Austrians libertarians and so many libertarians? The third question is, what's the difference between Austrian economics? I'm an Austrian economist and I'm also a libertarian. Austrian economics, I'm an Austrian economist and I'm also a libertarian. Well, what's the difference between the two things? Austrian economics is a branch of economics. And the Austrian economics is a branch of economics is to explain and understand economic reality. So it's to explain and understand economic enterprise. So it's we're just trying to understand positive enterprise. Why do we have we're just trying to understand things. Why do we have an I don't know. Why are some nations wealthy and other nations are not wealthy? I don't know. Why are some nations wealthy and other nations are not people buy less? Why is it that when the price rises, people buy less? Is not things like positive science. Is a normative science. Is not has the word positive science. It says you should not murder. It has the word should. You should not steal. You should not murder. If you rob somebody, you should not steal. Things like that. If you rob somebody, you should go to jail. Things like that. One is normative. The two are very deals with ethics, with what the law should be. One is normative. The other is deals with ethics, it's with what the law should be. The other is positive, just as much of a science as chemistry or physics, or just as much of a science as chemistry or physics, symbolic logic, or any other science, sense of or symbolic logic, knowledge that is systematically studied. So there's a gigantic chasm between the two. So there's a gigantic chasm. You could be a libertarian and not be an Austrian, and you could be an Austrian and not be a libertarian and not be. There was some Austrian, and you could be an Austrian and not be a libertarian. There was some Austrian days of the Austrian school. I mean, the Austrian school started in the early days of the Austrian school. I mean, the Austrian something like that, or 1890s, early late 19th century, or 1890s, early the Nazi period, and some of the people in Austria, and then came the Nazi period, and some of the people in Austria. Well, if you're Nazi, you can't be Austrian economists, and also Nazis. So you can be an Austrian, you can't be not a libertarian. On the other hand, there are many libertarians, like Milton Friedman, on the other hand, there are many libertarians, many economists, David Friedman, or libertarians, namely they favor economists and they favor property rights. Libertarians, namely they favor free enterprise and they favor property rights. Economists. Thomas Sowell, who just retired, Walter Williams, mainstream economists. These are examples of people who were pretty good libertarians, but they're not Austrian economists. These are examples of people who were pretty good libertarians. There are people like Charles Murray, who's not an economist at all. There are people like Charles Murray, who's not an Austrian economist, but he's not an economist. So he can't be an Austrian economist, but he's not an economist. So now for the fourth question, why is there, given this gigantic chasm, why is there, given enterprises, gigantic chasm, why is there such between the two enterprises? Well, why is there such an association? Because I would say that there isn't most libertarians are not Austrian economists, because I would say that most libertarians are not Austrian economists, because most libertarians are not the average guy who's a plumber or an electrician or a computer person. The average guy who's a plumber or an electrician or a computer person, but he's not an economist at all, so he can't be an Austrian libertarian. But he's not an economist at all, so he can't be an Austrian economist. Most Austrian economists are libertarians, except for these few Nazis. Most Austrian economists are libertarians. Austrian except for these few Nazis that I was talking about. And there are two good reasons for that. One, most Austrian economists, and there are two good reasons for that. One, Rothbard and Mises, Rothbard and Mises, and they were libertarians. So naturally, if you revere somebody and he likes Mozart, if you revere somebody and he likes Mozart, then otherwise, you're more open to revere someone and he's a libertarian. Now you're more open to libertarianism. If you revere someone and he's a libertarian, now you're more open to personalities. Because the chief, so that's one reason. Contributors to Austrian economics, in my view, would be Mises, and contributors to Austrian economics, in my view, would be Mises. I don't even know if he ever visited Austria. Now, Rothbard was not born in Austria. I think second to Mises, the preeminent Austrian economist. I think second to Mises, the two of them preeminent Austrian economist. Radical libertarian, anarchist libertarian. The two of them were libertarians. Was close. Murray was not radical libertarian, anarchist libertarian. Mises was close, but not quite as radical. The second reason why there is this affinity between Austrian economics and libertarianism, why there is this affinity between Austrian economics and libertarianism, is very radical. Austrian economics, take Mises's book, is very radical. Mises' book Socialism says not only can't socialism work, it's impossible for it to work. Said not only can't socialism work, it's impossible for it to work. Defined as government ownership of the means of production can't work. defined as government ownership of the means of production can't work toward libertarianism. And if you have the idea that the reason we have business cycles and booms and busts and depressions is because of government, we have business cycles that sort of booms and busts and depressions is because of government. Libertarianism, because libertarianism says government violates the non-aggression principle, because libertarianism says government violates the non-aggression principle, predilection, there is this high correlation between people who are Austrian economists and libertarians. There's high correlation between people who are Austrian economists and libertarians. I know now of they need not be, and there are one or two counterexamples of the Nazi Austrian. They need not be, and there are I don't know of anyone now examples of the Nazi Austrian, and also not a libertarian. I don't know of anyone nowadays who's an Austrian economist, because the two are not the same. But it could be. You can't deduce the one from the other. Because the two are not the same. So you can't deduce the one from the other. Well, now we've had 5 questions. Well, now we've had 5 questions.
Yes. So we have. We would like to hear you a little bit on 2 of your most controversial ideas, and because of that, one, it would be you have a very beautiful model, the total privatization model. So one would be that one, privatize it all, and the other one would be because of
what's the second one? I didn't hear you.
Voluntary servitude.
Ah, yes. What's the second one? I didn't hear you.
Let me.
Yes. Okay.
So if,
let me.
If you could
defending the undefendable, I have 2 books in that series. Defending the undefendable, I have 2 1 and defending the undefendable books in that series. Yes. And what I do in defending the undefendable 1 and defending the undefendable 2. And what I do suppose in somebody is hated, or it's illegal, but it doesn't violate the non-aggression principle. Suppose somebody is hated, and he keeps doing it, or it's illegal, but it doesn't violate the non-aggression principle. Look, right now, and he keeps doing it. Isn't he heroic? Zhao is wearing a gray shirt. Yes. Look, right now, he's not a hero. But suppose Zhao is wearing a gray shirt. If you wear a gray shirt, you go to jail. He's not a hero. But suppose obviously an unjust law, and now Zhao wears a gray shirt anyway, which is obviously an unjust law, and now Zhao wears a gray shirt anyway. All sorts of examples of people that either everyone hates, all sorts of examples against the law, and yet it doesn't violate the non-aggression principle. Either everyone hates, because I don't pick the murderer or the law, and yet it doesn't violate the non-aggression principle, or anything like that. Because I don't pick the murderer or the rapist, like somebody who pays below the minimum wage, or like that, or a smuggler. I just pick people like somebody who pays below the minimum wage, buying and selling across international borders, things like that, or the prostitutes against buying and selling across international borders, things like that, or the prostitute. So I defend all sorts of people engages in sex between consenting adults. So I defend 2 in that series, like that. And I'm now working on the 3rd one. They'll be defending the undefendable 3. 2 in that series, and I'm now working on bunch of characters. They'll be defending the undefendable 3, and I'll have a whole new bunch of characters violating the libertarian law. They might be violating the actual law, but I don't really care that much about the actual law. The libertarian law. They might be violating the actual law, but I don't really care that much about the actual law. Okay, the second series is libertarian. I'm concerned with privatization. The motto I have when I send out emails is, series if it moves, privatize it. If it doesn't move, the motto I have everything either moves or doesn't move. If it moves, privatize it. If it doesn't move, privatize it. Everything either moves or doesn't move, so privatize everything. So the first book in that series, and it's called The Privatization of Roads and Highways. And it's called, and the reason I wrote this book privatization of roads. I don't know what it is in Portugal, but in the United States, some 35,000 people a year die on the roads. I don't know what it is in Portugal, but in the United States, some 35,000 people a year die on the roads. Just put this in perspective, 35,000 people, that's a lot of people to die. In Katrina, only 1,900 people died. In 9/11 in the United States, only 3,000 only 1,900 people died in 9/11 in the United States. And I say it's not because of speeding or drunken driving or anything like that. It's because the government can't stop speeding or drunken driving or anything like that. It's because the government all the roads and highways and speeders and drunken drivers. You own one road, you own another road, privatize all the roads compete to see who can do the better job. One road, you on another road. We have pretty good wristwatches. Now we compete to see who can do the better job. Eyeglasses. And the reason we have pretty good wristwatches. Everything else is because we have competition. And pens. Well, why not apply this to roads and save everything else? Is because we have competition. Well, why not apply this to roads and save many lives? Right here. It's a thing called the second book in this series. Water Capitalism: The Case for Privatizing Oceans, Rivers, Lakes, and Aquifers. Water Capitalism: I wanted to put the case for privatizing oceans, rivers, lakes, and aquifers. The publisher didn't want mud puddles in there too, but the idea here is the publisher didn't want mud puddles in the old Soviet Union. The idea here is 97% of the land was under collectivized farms run by the government. 97% of the land they produced under collectivized farms run by the government, whereas on that only 3% of the land they produced only 75% of the crops, backyard and front yard. Only 3% of the land was private, and that produced 25% of the crops. Backyard and front yard for the workers on the farm. 3/4 of the earth's surface produced 25% of the crops. 1/4 is the oceans, and on the 3/4 of the earth's surface of land they produce 99% of the world's GDP, and on the oceans of land they produce 99% of the world's GDP on land, but still, and on the oceans only 1% of the disproportion. This might not be fair because most of the people are on land, but still, it gives you an idea of the disproportion. Tragedy of the commons. There's this thing called what is it called? We own it in common. Tragedy of the commons. The cow was always owned. If we own it in common, privately. We don't take care of it. The cow never came within a million miles of extinction. The buffalo, privately, was not owned. The cow never came within a million miles, and it almost became extinct. Buffalo, people would overuse it. Was not owned. If you kill a cow, you don't have a cow tomorrow. And it almost became extinct. So it's a high price for killing a cow today. If you kill a cow, you don't have a cow. You don't have the buffalo tomorrow anyways. You might as well kill a cow today. So if you kill a buffalo when it's not owned, you don't have the buffalo tomorrow anyways. You might as well kill it. And the same thing with pussycats and tigers. Well, a pussycat is 10 pounds. A tiger is 500 pounds. Pussycats and the tiger is much stronger than the cat is 10 pounds. The tiger is 500 pounds. Not going extinct, and the tiger is going extinct. Is much stronger than the house cat, and yet the house cat is not going extinct, and the tiger is going extinct. One, privatized, the people would take care of the tiger, make sure it was owned, it prospered, and we had baby tigers, so that people would take care of the tiger and make sure tigers or whatever it is that prospered, and we had baby tigers, so that people could see tigers with the elephants and the rhinoceros or whatever it is that we would do with tigers. And the whale is just a big fat cow that swims with the elephants and the rhinoceroses and. The reason the whale is a big fat on the cow that's going extinct or being endangered is nobody owns it. The reason one way the whale is on the verge of going extinct or being endangered is now nobody owns this whale, and you keep your mitts off of his whale and privatize the ocean off of your whale. And now you have this whale and you have your own cow off of his whale, and he keeps his mitts off of your whale. Just like you. So that's one reason. Have your own cow. Another reason, have your own whale. That would be. And now the whales are saved. Another reason is what's happening with China right now. That would be. China is another reason is what's happening with China right now. The South China Sea, southeast of China, building little islands in the middle of the South China Sea, 12-mile limit around each of the islands, and if they put in 100 islands, and they get 12 miles around each island, well, they pretty much own the whole ocean. Put in 100 islands, this is not really they get 12 miles around each island. We got that 12 pretty much own the whole ocean limit. It used to be a 1 mile. Why was it homesteading? A cannon could only got that 12 mile. Then it was 3 miles. It used to be a 1 mile. A little stronger. Why was it 1 mile? Because a cannon could only then shoot. Then it became 12 miles. Well, now we have ICBMs, missiles that were a little stronger. Thousands of miles. So the whole thing became 12 miles. Well, now we have ICBMs, missiles that property rights, which was based on homesteading. So the whole thing is silly. The China Sea? We have to get back to the libertarian theory of property rights, which was based on homesteading. Australia, people from Korea, people from Philippines, India. Not only China. Yes, China did, but people from Australia, people from Korea, people from Philippines, India. Chinese Sea, and based on the proportion of who used it for boats or swimming or drinking or whatever it was. Chinese Sea, based on the proportion of who used it for boats or swimming or drinking or whatever it was. It's a big river in the United States, and it now let me take the Mississippi River. I think it was 2007, killing 1,900 river in the United States, and which is a horrible thing. But the economist in me hates 2007, killing 1,900 people. That those people are still in business, which is a horrible thing. But the economist in me hates the fact the Army Corps of Engineers that those people the ones that built levees that fell and let the water in because New Orleans a little bit under the sea level. They're the ones that built levees that fell and let the water in because New Orleans a little bit under the sea level. Bad hamburger, the water poured in. They'd go broke, and we'd eat Wendy's burgers or McDonald's had a bad hamburger. They'd go broke, and that's the Wendy's burgers. Magic of the market. When you don't do a good job, you lose money, and when you do a good job, you gain money. You gain more. Magic of the market. When you don't do a good job, you lose money, and when you do a good job, you gain money. You gain more. These people should not be in charge of the Mississippi River anymore, and that's why we have pretty good burgers. Killing 1,900 people. These people should not be in charge of the Mississippi River anymore. This is the sort of a case that I'm making here in this book, that we should privatize the oceans and the rivers and the lakes and everything that I'm making here. We have a theory. Privatize the oceans and the rivers and the lakes and everything. In the case of the collectivized farms, it doesn't do a good job. That when government runs things like, Adam Smith had a book called The Wealth It doesn't do a good job, and he said the nations are wealthy in Adam Smith had how much economic freedom they have. Well, economic freedom needs private property. Nations are wealthy in proportion to how much economic freedom they have. So we have to privatize. Well, economic freedom needs private property. If you have government property, you don't have a free market system. Why only? So we have to private spaceships. Now, the third book in this series is NASA space race shouldn't be involved. The private spaceships should be there. When we get to Mars, who should own it? Not the government. Private people. So, and when we get to Mars, now looking for a publisher, we're not the government sending it out to publishers to try to get it published. This book is now looking for a publisher. Peter Nelson sending it out to publishers. He and I also wrote not only the Oceans book, but also the co-author Peter Nelson. Those are two series. Also wrote not only the Oceans book, but also the space book. So those are two series. Voluntary service. What was the third one that you asked me about? Now, I haven't got a book on that, but I've written many articles on that. Voluntary service. Or your listening audience are interested in any of this stuff and want to pursue further, and if any of you just email me, or your listening audience are interested in any of this stuff and want to pursue further at Loino, just email me. I'm at WBlock, WBLOCK, at Loino, LOYNO.edu. Loyola, for Loyola universities in the U.S., so we distinguish in that way. Just email me, and I'll send you four Loyola universities in the U.S. available, but distinguish in that way. Voluntary slavery. Just email me, and I'll send you not as available. And if people want to pursue it, easily available, but email me, and I'll send voluntary slavery that is not as available, and that you don't get a chance to pursue it. Email me, and I'll send. Here's the situation: my son, who I love dearly, any question that you don't get a chance to ask, God forbid. Okay, and it'll cost $5 million. My son, who I love dearly, has a horrible disease. $5 million, and it'll cost you guys $5 million. Wanted me to be your slave, and you're very rich. $500. So I make a deal with you. I say, look, give me the you guys have long wanted me to be your slave. I'll save his rich, and now I'll be. So I make a deal with you. I say, look, give me the $5 million. I'll give you economics lessons. You can whip me. I'll save his life. Economics lessons. And now I'll be whatever slave. I'll go to your plantation. I'll give you economics lessons. You can whip me. You don't like the economics lessons. More than my freedom. You gain, I gain as in the case of all voluntary trades, because you value my servitude more than the $5 million. You're very rich. You gain, as in the case of all voluntary trades, because you value my servitude more than the $5 million. You're very rich. If you own it, you can sell it. Is this a valid contract? If I own my freedom, I should be able to sell it. And if I can't sell it, then I don't really own it. If you own it, you can sell it. So if I own my freedom, I should be able to sell it, and if I can't sell it, then I don't really own voluntary slavery. Now, my critics say, well, you can't alienate the will. Voluntary slavery. Well, now, my critics, you're now whipping me, or you can't alienate economics lessons, and I wish I were free of you. What does this mean? Well, but you're not buying my will. You're just buying the rights to beat lessons, and I wish I were free of you. So here's the situation. I give you an economics lesson, or I pick cotton on your plantation, and you don't like the way I do it, and you're whipping me. So here's the situation. I give you an economics lesson, or I pick cotton on your plantation, and you don't like the way I do it, and you're whipping me. Tell them to stop. And I yell over to the policeman, hey, policeman, these guys are committing we have a contract battery on me. Contract tell him to stop. I gave him $5 million, free me, and now I can do with him what I want. You guys say, wait, we have a contract here. The contract was I gave him $5 million, alienate the will. I can do with him what I want. I agree. The point is, I resent you. The contract was not, although probably alienate the will. You can't alienate the will. Boy, I'm glad my son is alive, and otherwise he wouldn't be alive. Although probably every day that you beat me, I'm not selling the will. I'm just selling the right because my son is alive, and otherwise he wouldn't be alive. Assault and battery on me. But it's as if we're in the boxing match. The will. I'm just selling the right you punch me in the nose. Commit. I can't assault and battery on you. It's as if we're in a boxing match. And now you punch each other above the belt. I can't call the cops on you. All I'm selling is the right to beat me up, to punch each other when I displease above the belt. And the right to all I'm selling is the right to beat me up. You're not letting me go. You're when I displease me chained up in your and the right in your plantation or your house or whatever. You're not letting me go. You're keeping me chained up in your the right to alienate the will, but I'm just selling you the right to your house or battery on me. So I'm selling you not enslave to alienate the will, but I'm just selling you the right to commit assault and battery on me. That's the proper libertarian analysis of it, although there are a lot of critics who don't agree with me on that. Voluntary slavery. But this is a very, so I think that that's the proper libertarian analysis of it, although there are a lot of critics who don't agree with me on that. It's not like unemployment or, esoteric stuff like that. Most people don't think of voluntary slavery. It's not like unemployment or only a weird libertarian like us. Stuff like that. Think about most people don't think of voluntary slavery. Only a weird libertarian like us would think about things like that.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Professor, I would like to make you a question that I'm sure you never heard it before. Probably the first time you ever heard it. As a libertarian, I'm sorry? An academic who studies these issues is who would build the roads? Who would build the roads? Who would build the roads? Well, first of all, we already have roads. Who would build the roads? And we would. Who would build the roads? Turn them over to private companies. First of all, we already have roads, so that's one answer to who would build the roads. There are already roads. Turn them over to private companies. I assume there are roads in Portugal. So that's one answer to who would build the roads. There are already roads. I don't know in Portugal. Well, those roads have to go to somebody, and people will look at them. Look, when the Soviet Union roads in Portugal stopped being the Soviet Union, roads have to go to somebody, and people will collectivized farms. Look, when the Soviet Union they had stopped being the Soviet Union, became Russia. Universities they had collectivized farms. They had to get them into private hands somehow. They shouldn't auction buildings because auctioning them means we have to pay them money, and they have too much money. They had to get them into private hands somehow. They shouldn't auction in proportion to whoever homesteaded. We have to pay them money, and they have too much money already. Mississippi River, the people who swam in it, the people who used boats on it, the people who had whoever homesteaded it on the banks of the Mississippi River. Mississippi River, the people who swam in it, the people who used boats on it, the people who had property on the banks of the Mississippi River on the farm. Well, similarly, the teacher should get the collectivized farm. People who work in the forest should get the forest. Maybe the people who worked on the farm. We have the teacher should get all the roads universities that are owned by different people who worked in the forest. You own one road, I own one road. Okay, so now another road. We have how do we build a new road that are owned by different companies? Start you own one road, I own one beginning. You own another road. Roads built. Well, how do we build a new road? Or if you want to have a factory, what you have to do is buy a couple of acres of land and then buy some cement and buy some bricks and buy some pipes. If you want to have a factory, what you have to do is buy a couple of acres of land and then buy some cement and buy some bricks and buy some pipes and electrical wires, and you make a factory. Well, if you want to build a road, what you have to do is buy land in a what's the biggest city in contiguous spaces, right? Suppose you want to. Suppose you want to build a road from Lisbon to Portugal. What's the capital of Spain? Suppose you want to build a road from Lisbon. You want to build a road from Lisbon to Madrid. What's the capital of Spain? Shows you. I don't know how many people own land between Lisbon and Madrid. Lisbon to 100,000. Who knows? 500,000. I don't know how many people own land between Lisbon and Madrid. You go to Miguel and say, Miguel, will you sell me 10 acres? Who knows? 500,000. I don't. You go to Joe and you say, Joe, will you sell me 10 acres? And you go to Miguel and say, Miguel, will you sell me 10 acres? Between Madrid and Joe and you say, Joe, will you sell me 10 acres? And
buy up land. Now, the problem with this is a thing called the holdout problem. Madrid and Lisbon. Holdout. And then you put somebody in between Lisbon and Madrid. Now, the problem with this is a thing called the holdout problem. I'm not selling my land. Means there'll be somebody in my land. It'll be $1 trillion who says, you know, something like that. Sorry. Now, in this book, what I do is I go over many cases like this. It'll be $1 trillion. Many objections to this. One is, well, how are you going to build a road without eminent domain? What I do is I go over many cases like Canada. I don't know what they call it in this. One is, well, how are you going to build a road without eminent domain? The government wants to build a road in Canada. I don't know what they call it in Portugal. But here's the idea: on the path that they've chosen, they just come to you and say, "Look, we think your land is worth, you know, and you 10,000 an acre, and we'll give you 10,000 an acre." That they've chosen, whether you like it or not, they just come to you and say, "Look, we think your land is worth, you know, 10,000 an acre, and we'll give you 10,000 an acre." Without, whether you like it or not, expropriation, without eminent domain, without seizing people's land and paying them the price we want to pay. How would we build a road without? In this expropriation, without eminent domain, without seizing people's land and paying them the price we want to pay, we the government. I forget. Well, in this book, what I do is you're a holdout. You don't want me to buy your land. I'll build a tunnel under your land, or a bridge over your land. You're a holdout, and you don't want me to buy your land. I'll build a tunnel under your land, the center of the earth, or a bridge over your land. Because you only own what you homestead. And you didn't homestead stuff a quarter mile below you. You don't own down into the center of the earth a tunnel under you because you only own what you homestead. But if you didn't homestead stuff a quarter mile below you, instead of asking for $1 trillion for your land, you'll ask for $1 million. It's more expensive. And then the road is more viable. But if you get the idea that I can build a tunnel under you, instead of asking for $1 trillion for your land, you'll without eminent domain, and then the road is more viable. So that's how private people land build against people's will, without eminent domain, without government seizing any land against people's will.
Yes. So, and one final question
is taxation? Is taxation? Yes, of course. Of course. Well, now look, there are four levels of libertarianism. Is the highest level of libertarianism the correct view, the view that I have, which happens to be correct? Well, now look, there are four levels of libertarianism. Anarcho-capitalism. The highest level of libertarianism, the correct view, the government is an illegitimate group because it taxes people, and taxes are... And under anarcho-capitalism, and we have government is an illegitimate group because it taxes people. So government by its very nature is a thief. And its taxes are theft, and we have a word for forced payments. That's theft. We're against government, and so government by its very nature every institution, armies, courts, and its taxes are theft. Fire departments, and therefore we're against schools, government, and we're anarchists, and we believe that every institution, armies, courts, police, because government is fire departments. Now the critics will say, well, we agreed to be part of the government. Shirts, everything farm should be private. Did you sign anything saying that the Portuguese government has permission to take money? Will say, well, we agreed. I didn't sign anything like that. I didn't agree. Okay, so that's the highest level. Did you sign anything saying that the Portuguese government has permission to take non-aggression principle? I didn't sign anything like that. Highest level is a thing called minarchism, minimal government libertarianism. The most consistent. Now, the people associated with anarchism are mainly Murray Rothbard. Highest level is a thing called minarchism or minimal government libertarianism. Now, the people associated with anarchism are mainly Murray Rothbard. And their view is government is legitimate, but it has minimal government, very, very limited. Or Ayn Rand and Robert to keep foreign bad guys away from us. Courts, their view is determine who the good guys and the bad guys are. It has to be police to keep local bad guys away from us. Armies to keep foreign bad guys away from us. Armies are not to determine who the good guys and the bad guys are. Police, 1,000 military bases in 130 countries, and they call it in the United States. Armies are not to go and support democracy. I mean, the U.S. has got very strong 1,000 military bases in 130 countries, and they call it defense. Bases all over the place. That's not what probably the U.S. has a base in. It's just a very strong Portugal. I don't know, but make sure nobody attacks us. But don't have bases all over the place. Okay, so probably the U.S. has a base in Portugal. I don't know. Military. They've got one. Shouldn't have any soldiers in Portugal. Okay, so there's one. What are we doing now? Is minarchism or minimal government libertarianism, military with armies, courts, and police. Have any soldiers in Portugal? The third level, moving down, is minarchism or minimal government libertarianism with armies, courts, and police. Government, but that's the person most associated with this is Ron Paul. The third level, I revere Saint Ron Paul. I think he's magnificent. U.S. constitutionalism. Whatever the Constitution says, pretty good. The Constitution was pretty good. The person most associated with this is Ron Paul. Not as good as the Articles of Confederation, but still pretty good. And I think he's magnificent. It would allow post offices and post roads. And the Constitution was pretty good, but otherwise not as good as the Articles of Confederation, but still pretty good. Very, very few regulations. It would allow post offices and then the fourth level below that is what I call classical liberals. There'd be no welfare. People most associated with that are Milton Friedman and Friedrich Hayek. Very few regulations, very few government. They also agree with armies. And then the fourth level below that is what I call classical liberals. Things, and the people most associated with that are Milton Friedman and other things. And they also agree with armies, courts, and police and the Constitution, but they add a whole bunch of other things, free trade and welfare and occupational licensure, and they're very other many things. So I include them as libertarians, but just by courtesy, because I'm still a big tent kind of a guy. Minimum wage, free trade, and so that an occupational licensure, and their taxation, many things. So I include them as libertarians, but capitalists, but not for the other libertarians. Courtesy, because I'm so you have to be fair. By the way, I would say of all libertarians, 5%. Get back to your question: is taxation theft? Yes, for the maybe 10% are minimal government, but not for the other libertarians. Or so you have to be fair. By the way, maybe 20, and the rest, the majority is classical liberal, like Milton Friedman and Friedrich Hayek. And maybe 10% are minimal government, and 15% are constitutionalists. Maybe 20, and the rest, the majority, is classical liberal, like Milton Friedman and Friedrich Hayek.
The interview, we would like for you to send a message for all the students, Portuguese students.
Well, my message to Portuguese students and to all students is to read Murray Rothbard. I sometimes joke and I say I'm not really an anarchist. The government should have one function, and that's my message to Portuguese students and to all students is to read Murray Rothbard. But I'm a big fan of Murray Rothbard. I don't agree with everything I say. I'm not really an anarchist. The government should have one to me, Murray Rothbard is Mr. Everyone to read Murray Rothbard. And if you read Murray Rothbard, I'm kidding. For New Liberty, the fan of Murray Rothbard would be a good start. He's written many pamphlets. Everything is written just 99.9%. Man, Economy and Stages. That's a very technical book, and it's about that thick. And if you an Austrian book, but if you're Murray Rothbard, read For New Liberty, the Ethics of Liberty would be a good start. Whoever he cites pamphlets. I don't really advocate that you start with Man, Economy and Stages. That's a very technical book, and Portuguese thick. For Portuguese people, but if you're libertarian anywhere, and for people everywhere. For New Liberty and the Ethics of Liberty, and then just read whoever he cites, and it would be a good start to get a good libertarian education for a Portuguese student, for Portuguese people, for students anywhere, and for people everywhere. Well, it's a pleasure to have very bright and interested people ask me questions and interview me. Thanks. You did an excellent job of interviewing me. Thank you. Bye.